All Hendrick Motorsports Cup teams might be in trouble following last Friday's 50-minute practice session at Phoenix Raceway. This comes after Kyle Larson had the best long-run car overall at the practice easily. Stick around for more details. Carrying the momentum for 3 consecutive victories, Hendrick Motorsports teams headed towards Phoenix Raceway in the Nascar Cup Series for the final stop of the Western Swing. The 1-mile Arizona Tri-Oval track did host not only the first short track race of 2023, but also the highly anticipated debut of a new aerodynamic package that will be run on the series road courses and short ovals this season. So, in preparation for this occasion, NASCAR announced that Cup teams would receive 50 minutes of practice at Phoenix Raceway because that is the first road course event with the new aero packages for those types of track and short track. After the practice, it is scheduled that the team will have the opportunity to make any necessary adjustments before submitting their vehicles to the technical inspection team for the event that will take place on Saturday, before the qualifying race that will determine the starting order for the United Rentals Work United 500 the next day. HMS ended the practice that fateful Friday with much to be hopeful for, as Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman sat in the top 3 spots for single-lap speed, with Larson leading. However, the news that came after it isn't good, with NASCAR competition officials taking hood louvers from the 4 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets, and the sanctioning body took them to the NASCAR Research and Development Center for further investigation this week. This is significant because the sport saw something that could be a possible matter before practice, but waited until after the session and confiscated them. Hood louvers are vents or openings in the hood on each manufacturer's car that serve as release points for ducts that transfer air from the radiator. The system is intended to differentiate engine performance from aero performance, offsetting the practice of teams taping off air intakes and placing undue pressure and heat strain on the car's engines. Louvers are considered a single-source supplied part on the next-gen car, and NASCAR has issued several penalties for alterations to those parts years earlier. Such penalties included reducing up to 100 points, 10 playoff points, and a 4-game suspension for a team's crew chief. NASCAR isn't sure these louvers were modified, so they will have to do more evaluation to determine if the team modified the next-gen parts before any penalty is announced. That may be why the officials wait until after the practice before confiscating them to ascertain further. NASCAR has previously told teams not to modify the hood louvers as they have seen issues with them not fitting on the hood or making the vehicles go faster. With strict next-gen car rules, Hendrick Motorsports could be seeing some big penalties soon. If NASCAR decides to penalize Hendrick Motorsports, the punishment won't be easy, because something like this happened last year with Brad Keselowski and his RFK racing team. They were penalized with 100 regular season points reduction, 10 points reduction towards any potential playoff appearance, and $100,000 in a cash fine for an issue with a repaired body panel. NASCAR is also known to show leniency towards teams after confiscating parts, with them choosing not to penalize the same RFK Racing for a wheel modification a month before they were eventually penalized. We will have to watch if HMS will be penalized or not. Jeff Gordon, the vice chairman of HMS, said the confiscated parts still weigh in the mind of everyone at the organization and will certainly continue. Wary about the potential threat of the incident, Gordon said officials at Hendrick had been in contact with NASCAR over the hood louvers. He said they'd had some conversations and would continue having it. He thinks the incident has opened up the door for miscommunication, but the organization will continue to be transparent with NASCAR, as they've been so far. NASCAR has made it clear to every team that any alteration of a next-gen car part will result in severe consequences. So there is no alibi for Hendrick Motorsports even if they were having trouble with the hood louvers fitting because they were directly informed not to modify them. Any further argument with NASCAR that linked to the process of them not fitting would likely be futile. So let's look at the penalties the organization will likely face. The best case scenario for HMS is that NASCAR saw something they dislike, but nothing is in the rulebook. This has a grey area and creates a situation whereby the team didn't break any rules. With this intact, no penalty will be enforced, and Hendrick Motorsports would be warned not to do that again. Another situation is that NASCAR didn't see anything wrong at all. However, both situations aren't working now. The worst case scenario is if NASCAR eventually finds that Hendrick Motorsports modified the hood louvers, a next-gen car part. It would be severe. NASCAR has been given the same penalties for modifying a next-gen car part since the start of last season, and the same it would give out if HMS was found guilty. They are a 100-point penalty, the reduction of 10 playoff points, a 4-race ban for the crew chief, and a $100,000 fine. If all of these apply to Hendrick Motorsports, it would be a massive blow to them, since all 4 cars had seized parts. If NASCAR finds modifications on all 4 cars, each car could receive all those penalties. It would be a massive blow to each driver to lose 100 points, 10 playoff points, a $100,000 fine, and their crew chiefs to receive a suspension for 4 races. There has yet to be any news on whether or not Hendrick Motorsports modified the parts. The organization could receive no penalty if nothing is found, or the rulebook states that what they did was okay. On the other hand, HMS may face one of the biggest penalties in NASCAR history if parts are found to be modified. We all know Chase Elliott was a Hendrick Motorsports driver who had an accident when snowboarding and got replaced by Josh Berry at the Friday training, which led to the confiscation and the potential penalties the team may receive. The penalty might even make the organization say goodbye to any possible playoff contention. With Chase Elliott escaping any possible penalties courtesy of his injury, he would end up higher than other drivers in HMS, making him the only championship contender. Hendrick Motorsports has been known to be subjected to favoritism for countless years, with several materials to back up the fans' claim. Although this incident is complicated enough, it doesn't apply to fans who find every consequence HMS could be facing a joke. A poster joked on Twitter that HMS is NASCAR's beloved, so nothing will happen. Another joked about Hendrick Motorsports drivers that each would receive 100 extra points for this penalty. Some fans believe this will be nothing more than a little annoyance to Jeff Gordon's lunchtime. Will HMS be penalized or not? Fans are expecting what NASCAR will say about this incident. HMS aren't the first team to commit the offense of modifying the next-gen car. RFK Racing Team was found at fault last season and was dealt with. Will that be the same if HMS were found at fault? Let's know your answers in the comment. Kindly subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to see more of our videos.